This meeting is being recorded.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yes, how are you?
Doing good, ma'am.
Okay. So I think we had a question by Lisa about her child, especially during the adolescence. That's what we'll focus today. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask. So the question was, okay, is it normal for a girl child to become silent or behave like an introvert in puberty who was cheerful and talkative till that time? What we try to understand here is the developmental cycle that children go through in the second stage of development. The first stage is from birth till age 7, during which the physical body is trying to get into the proportion. We know that when the child is born, the head, the body, the limbs ratio is not like what we have today. And the bones are soft and many bones fuse together in the due course. And the heartbeat is not rhythmized. The internal organs are not, they have not taken complete shape or the position. And it takes about 7 years for children to go through that physical development and to kind of settle down in the proportion that we are more or less today as an adult. And that process of physical development culminates when the first tooth, the baby tooth, falls out. It's around age 7. And then the forces that were available to form this physical body is available to be used for the development of the emotional body. That is the second stage of child development. Children go through a roller coaster, especially beginning about 8, 8.5. 9 is kind of termed as a crisis year. And 12 is another crisis, pre-adolescent crisis. It's not like crisis per se, but it's some major shift that children go through because of their emotional development, because of the hormonal changes and the development of the reproductive organs. Their view of the world changes. In the first stage, it was, we are all one. I mean, there is nothing me and nothing you. But children begin to develop a sense of separation around age 7. A little bit of independence, little bit of this is mine, that is yours. However, it is not bad. That is process of development. And in this process, the children may feel alienated, alone, insecure. It is natural process, but they don't understand it. We as adults around them have to understand, okay, this is what the child is going through. This is very, very normal. And with that, it begins with that kind of a separation. Of course, there is also independence and there is a responsibility. They can eat on their own, dress on their own, move around on their own. There is also freedom associated with it. And slowly, when the hormones start kicking in, things start changing in my body. Again, it is kind of weird. I'm not sure what's happening with me. I don't even know what's happening with me. I cannot even verbalize it. I do not have that ability to verbalize yet. As a 12, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year old, our thinking is still not developed. That is something for the third stage. Beginning around 14, when children hit puberty, you will see a dramatic shift after that also. Children who are like chubby, rounded in the first stage of development suddenly become long, like protrusions. They are uneasy. There's also pain in the body. Suddenly, some children experience the growth in their bones, but the ligaments are still not supporting that, and they go through the pain, the knee pain, joint pains, and stuff like that. And again, they cannot verbalize it. Adults will quickly discount, saying, "Oh, you're young and you're already having this kind of pain. Oh, you should not be feeling like this. We have given you everything that you want. Why are you even down?" Because we are comparing them with how they were, like carefree, full of life, when they were not burdened by being alone or expectations set by the society, until they transitioned over to second stage. And typically you see a dip in their ninth year, which is around their third, fourth grade, and another dip when children are in seventh, eighth grade, that's around age 12. And this is normal. And we don't really have to worry about it, but definitely we need to be there as a support, as an understanding human being. This is the need for the child as well in the second stage. They want to be having these conversations, not just like, "How was your school? What did you do? What did your teacher say? Did you eat your lunch?" I mean, those are all like superficial talks. Somewhere they have to go a little more deeper to understand that they are not the only person going through this in the world. I mean, that's how children, I mean, all of us feel too. I mean, suddenly I realize that, I've come to school and I just find that there is a hole in my dress. And I think the whole world is looking at me. I'm trying to cover it, I'm trying to work it. I mean, everybody is busy doing the same thing. I mean, they really don't have time. And even if they looked at and pointed out, you could say, "Yeah, I didn't notice it," and leave it at that. But we as adults are also so conscious about what the world thinks of me. Children in the second stage are 10 times more conscious because they're just stepping into the world, becoming aware of the world around them, unsure of what the expectations are. They hear something, they see something, there's a lot of hypocrisy with adults around, with the systems around. This is where they need conversation. And we as adults in their life have to be their loving authority. You are still an authority, but you are approachable, you are available, and you are transparent, open, direct, and you are just there for child to share anything at any point of time. So I was just talking to one other parent, and her child is confused, and now parents are like, "Oh, whatever you decide, we will do it." And child is not ready to decide, cannot decide, because they don't have that ability. But child is also not in a position to listen to the parents. When parents say do this, she doesn't want to. So the parents give up and say, "Okay, you do whatever, we'll support you." That also does not work. So there has to be a collaboration, there has to be a talk, there has to be a boundary that adults set. And then the child, let's say if the child decides to do something, or if we decide to do something for the child, there is also scope for improvement or change. What we need to start looking at is the big picture of where life is not just this 2 months or 6 months or 1 year. It's much more than that. And we need children to be feeling supported and secure during this stage of child development. Of course, every stage is very important. But this is equally important because according to me, or this is something I've made up myself, where we are all getting stuck in the second stage of child development. We don't have control on our own emotions. We don't even know what I'm thinking. Am I a hypocrite? Am I not keeping up my promises? Um, all those kinds of things. And we do have lots of examples in our life where our parents, aunts, uncles, bosses, they could be much, much older than us, but somewhere they don't exercise their wisdom. They have not converted the knowledge they have into wisdom. We are still we are still stuck with my way is the right way, and this is how everybody should be doing, and what you're thinking or saying or doing isn't right at all. And I put it in such a ugly way that the children may not even try to open up before us. So being supportive, being communicative, and giving the child a framework within which they can operate. I mean, she can sit and sulk, but even we are going for a walk. You have time till 5 to sulk, but then 5 to 7, they are going for a walk or some setup like that for every small thing, because she knows that she has her own space, yet she has time with you and you're not advising, um, talking down to her, or you be the superior. No, she must have that respect for us as loving authorities. And again, it comes back to we becoming aware, we being that person worthy of imitation, we being that person worthy of having that authority, which the child will truly, truly appreciate. And you say, okay, you can sit and think about it, feel bad, you don't want to talk. Maybe try journaling, this is what I did when I feel low and I cannot communicate to anybody. I just write it out, or I just paint something, or I just sing, listen to some nice music, or I just go out for a walk. So give her different kinds of avenues to just recollect, restore herself. Yeah, any questions, Lisa?
Uh, all these things we are doing, ma'am. The thing is like when we try to communicate with her,
Hmm.
like we want the only we three are like myself, my husband, and my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So we and she doesn't have any friends. That is the main thing we understood, and we try to be with her in the evening. Like we want her to be around. But when we
Mm-hmm.
are in the living room, she'll be in the bedroom, her bedroom.
Yeah,
When we went to, I mean, we try to go there, then she'll come to the living room. She's doing that. And
Mm-hmm.
one day she hears in the school also she's keeping silent, and her friends are started asking why you're like this because her friends are also going through this, but they
Mm-hmm.
are like fine. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
even I mean, in my childhood, I have went through, but I was not like this. Maybe I don't know. The sudden shift, we are not able to take it. We thought it's something she's keeping secret that
Yeah.
she's not doing because she does the journaling thing and drawing everything. Whatever you said, she's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
We are taking her for a walk either in the morning or in the evening whenever we get time. Like
Mm-hmm.
either I go with her or my husband will go.
Mm-hmm.
But she herself, she's telling like, why this? Like, I know I'm keeping silent in the class. I'm sitting very silently. I don't want to speak to anyone. These kind of
Yeah.
things she was telling.
Yeah, yeah, that's perfectly fine. See, the one phrase that you just said, we take her out whenever we have free time. And whenever she needs, is also should be taken care of.
No, not like that, man. Every day, like we three can't go. Either
Mm.
he'll go or I'll go. It's like that.
Yeah. So there's something that both of you must do something with her every day. It need not be like for a walk, it could be like a 10-minute chat during
No,
the
that we are
breakfast.
doing. That is what we are trying for last maybe 1 year. Before that also she started doing this. We
Mm-hmm.
understood this because we play the
Mm-hmm.
Uno cards and all. We try
Mm-hmm.
to watch her favorite program with her, but still that time and all she's fine. But
Mm-hmm.
suddenly
Mm-hmm.
she'll become silent and she'll go.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that is also natural because she also does not understand what's happening to her. How old is
Okay,
she?
okay. She'll be 13 in December.
13. Okay. So she also does not know what's happening. I mean, something that we worry about, is she liking somebody or is she hiding something from us? Could be. And again, if she tells you that I like this person, would you accept it? Is something she also has to feel. And in case she's done something wrong, the reason why she is not feeling comfortable of sharing is something coming from conditioning. So
Mhm,
if you can open up for from your own stories, whatever that you went through or you heard people went through or your cousins, relatives, whatever went through, and how they are today.
mhm,
I mean, see, I did many mistakes. I can think back, we are just having a school reunion right now, and all my friends are back in action, and they're like, oh, we did that, we did this, we did this. I wish I were a little more sensible then. All that revelation comes, 30, 40 years later. When going through
uh,
it, we don't, because that's part of growing up, going, feeling that heaviness, feeling that dense uh, thing is part of growing up. That is where, like how the seed, you sow it and you water it and you put it out in the sun, you fuel it and wait, right? You cannot expect it to sprout tomorrow. Right, so she's going through
yes.
that process, and it could not be her at all. It could be one of her friends is going through something really bad, and her friend is unable to share anything with her parents, and she's feeling helpless. And the friend has made her promise that don't tell this to anybody. So she
Mhm.
cannot even tell you about it.
Yeah,
Any which
maybe.
way,
Yes.
yeah.
No, the thing is like I understood from my own child, like from 8 years, she's
Mm,
becoming very tall. Okay, she's
mm,
taller than her age. That is what I
mm,
should say.
mhm,
So I had discussed this with my husband also. Like, see, she's tall, but we cannot.
mhm.
Her mind and her body development and her age, everything is like we have to go 7, 8 years only. We can't
Correct,
just because she's tall, we cannot say like she's adult and we can
exactly.
that. Yeah, that is what I make try to like everywhere when she goes, even to our hometown or everywhere. They
Mm,
treat her like okay, she's now she has become big. No, she's like, but she's
mm,
not. That they are not
exactly.
understanding. I don't know, but only I can understand she's what. But every time
That's
she'll
all.
ask me, "How you know, ma?" Because I tell her, "See, I'm your mom, okay?" So I know.
Yeah. Yeah, and just
So
having that one person is enough for her. She doesn't need the whole world to understand,
yeah,
right? So just
I
that one
understood,
person who
ma'am.
understands.
I understood, ma'am. But maybe I am very strict, and my husband is not strict. Maybe that I have left everything. Like I am not being strict with her. You have to do this at this time, but I this timetable she has to follow that. That also she's not taking. Then what I should do? I just
No,
left
it's
that.
not about being strict. It's about being available.
Yeah,
Say, for example, when you have periods and I am strict with you, how do you feel?
no, that we are not doing it. Like okay, I can
Right?
understand, and I tell my husband, see this thing. So don't force her on everything. Go that this do and all. Do go the cycling all this. But if she wants to do, she'll do. I say,
Correct.
but Yeah.
And it's okay. I mean, see, as it is, women go through a lot of changes within 1 month. You know,
Mm-hmm. Mm.
she has got periods.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That is what, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah.
Last year she got. After that
Right.
only this behavior change.
Correct, correct. See, now she's ready to reproduce, right? I mean, as a human being. And definitely there are going to be infatuations, attraction, opposite gender, very conscious about her, growing pubic hair and breasts and all of that. And something this is a taboo that we do not talk about in the family or even in the school. I mean, they just giggle around with their friends. But other than that, nothing is really been done. And for her, if you are not talking even about the period, she may be thinking she's the only one, this dirty
Ma'am,
girl.
something different in my case, ma'am.
Hmm,
I was actually like taken aback, like 12 years you got. I said, Mama, I know, like all my friends got. Yeah, I was waiting for this. This was the answer she was telling
hmm,
last year, like, so,
yeah, it's the
and yeah.
information. See, it's the
Mm.
information they have.
Yes, yes, yes.
But you should also go
Maybe.
beyond it. I mean, having information does not mean
Yes, ma'am.
the experience, right? So
Yes, ma'am.
I know that you go through, pains for 5 days during your period, but now I have passed it. I know it, but does that mean I understand the pain you go through?
No.
Right. So it's
Yes.
completely very, very personal. And the day, I mean, there are days when she's going to be just crying and she doesn't even know why she's crying. I mean, she'll
Mhm.
easily tear up or she'll easily be withdrawn. You know, these are all part and process of the hormones also acting up on her body, and she does not even know about it.
Mhm.
It's we call for us, right? I mean, after many, many experiences, we say, oh, I have premenstrual syndrome or postmenstrual syndrome in all the PMSs, whatever we talk about. After we
Yes,
go
ma'am.
see a doctor and the doctor said, yeah, 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 this happens, and then, rest, relax, or you feel you have this huge craving to eat chocolates only or pickles only, whatever.
Mm.
And of course we are not normal. And women, we generally are normal only for 1 week in a month,
Mhm.
right? The 1 week goes away in the period, one week post menstrual syndrome, 1 week premenstrual syndrome, and 1 week is where we are without any effect of these hormones on our bodies or indirectly on the mind also. And if I don't understand this kid in 3 weeks of time, then the fourth week she's not going to have trust to open up to anybody.
Mhm.
She has figured her own way of coping mechanism. It could be, and typically in second stage also children daydream a lot. They want that time to daydream. That's why even when we teach, we say you have to give food for imagination, put the right thing for them to think about. Sow that seed, which may sprout 20 years later. So taking her out to places where she feels connected with the community, maybe um, not as drastic as a old age home or orphanage or something like that, but gathering a few people who are less privileged and teaching them to speak in English, or she tutoring them to do something where she feels connected with the people like her and she's getting support from the adults around her, and she can manage her own emotions and feelings with whatever the friends are feeding her,
Okay.
right? And the friends may also be like, oh my god, this is, if she has understood about periods and everything, she'll also know about pregnancy, she'll also know about boyfriends, girlfriends. And maybe she's not that kind of person, and the girls may be teasing, oh, you don't have a boyfriend, you must have one right now, everybody in the world is having one. And then she's stuck with that, right? Where she's struggling between the norms in the society and the expectations at home. And it may not be just you or your husband laying those conditions. It could be grandparents, it could be cousins, it could be relatives, it could be the teachers in the school. There's so many other influences. We are not the only ones on her, but only thing I can provide for her at home is be yourself however you are. And I will be there by you no matter what. And then how you wish you had such a supporting parent when you were growing up, or somebody who you could share with anything and everything that you wanted to know, all those kinds of things. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Any other questions from anybody?
Well, I saw one more question down there. Like the child is there's one of my friend's child.
Yeah.
Like she thinks negative of herself. It's the
Right.
same question have been posted in that group, I think.
Yeah. She's quite negative in thoughts, even though she is very creative and really good in studies.
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
it social media and the negative news they are consuming through mobile? Well, mobile is also a big influence on us, just like human beings. And the negativity comes not just from this stage, it gets pronounced in this stage. The belief system, the basic belief system, all of us kind of go through this in varying degrees, that I'm not good enough, I'm not brave enough, I am afraid of something. Basically, fear of failing, fear of rejection, um, are the predominant causes. But then it has many different ways of repercussions. Fear of rejection. If I'm afraid that I'll be rejected, then I could come up with anything to defend that. And negativity could be one of them. And we develop it very beautifully. These are like my armors. They guard me against any potential threat of rejection. I reject you before you reject me. That is feeling safe for me. So this will have to be dealt with case by case basis, whenever she's negative, talking about how she's not so good looking. My daughter had this big issue of her hairline not being the way she would like to have it. She
The
went
same thing
through a
I had
phase.
with my daughter.
Yeah. And that's quite natural, normal. I mean, we don't jump into action and say, okay, let me go do the hair transplantation for you, or things like that. But then, casually, very, very casually, not when the child is complaining about this, you bring up the story of Michael Jackson, how he was not comfortable with his skin color at all. And then how he went on to do so many of the surgeries, and how eventually, his nose was not even on his face. And though he was supremely successful, which was independent of his color and how he looked,
Mm-hmm.
people would have loved and accepted him the way he was. But then, because of that inner rejection of himself, he went through so much of drug abuse, sexual abuses, got himself into so many scandals, and like whatever. And just look at, rather than taking him as a case study as to what he did was right or wrong, go into how he may have felt on daily basis, and you can relate it to your own cases, when somebody called you up to the office and just insulted you, or at least you thought they insulted. I mean, they could have been insulting themselves by shouting out of their position or whatever. But then how did I interpret, and how it is in my control to interpret it the way I want, and don't expect miracles. These are just the glimpses. So definitely reading biographies will help a lot in this stage, uh, because biographies take us through a lot of hardships that people go through, lot of failures that people go through, and yet they stick, yet they're resilient, and that's why they become biographies of those people. Not every person born on the earth has a biography, but someone who stood firm despite of all the hurdles they faced is when they accomplish something. And we do it on daily basis. It may be very trivial. It may be that you go to take shower, the power goes off, there is no geyser, but you have to take shower, or you want to take shower. Then despite it being cold outside, despite having cold water, you quickly pour some water and you feel refreshed. I mean, that's being resilient about taking shower. So we do a lot of those things, and you should also start paying attention to certain kinds of foods that you will eat, especially when you're feeling down. It is definitely the dopamine that gives us this quick burst of energy to feel good about myself, positive about myself, excited in life, but it also dies down very quickly, and we kind of get addicted to it because we keep wanting it. But then there's also serotonin, that is a long-term happy hormone. And that is consistent, that is sustainable. And that comes when I take up some projects that gives me a feeling of worthiness. Something that I take up to um, like journal every day for 5 minutes, and journal in the most beautiful handwriting, or draw pictures to rather than writing, or something that a child can do. That also adds so much of motivation that I'm ready to get up and start doing the work. A simple making up of task list for tomorrow. What am I going to do tomorrow as soon as I wake up? If I write it down before I go to bed today, I'll be more motivated to get up the next morning and get going with it. The same thing, if I don't write it out, I don't seem to have a purpose. Then I can laze around, just watch something on social media, just while the time away. Then I feel guilty about whiling the time away, but I cannot tell it to anybody again. So hide it and pretend. And again, I'm guilty of pretending. The cycle kind of continues. And the deep down feeling that I'm not good enough doesn't ever go away. And obviously, rather than blaming you because I know you'll blame back, I'll blame myself. That is what sounds like negativity. I will discount my creative abilities. I will discount how good I am, because I will find one other reason: my hairline. People don't like. So I discount however creative I am in dancing, however good I'm performing. That's what you see. People are good in so many things, but they hold on to one thing and suffer the entire life. So giving that perspective through conversations, through reading of the biographies, through the real life incidents that are happening with different people, which are very, very obvious, will begin to put things in perspective. So they're at least happy when they're 25, 28, 30. They may not instantly change because they do have peer influence on them. But they will not suffer continuously like Michael Jackson did. One of the extreme cases, ultimately decided to commit suicide. Does that make sense, Lisa?
Yes.
All right, all the very best. If you all have any questions, please do post it. And if not, I will take another topic tomorrow morning. Thank you all. Have a good
Thank
day.
you.